Today we're going to take a look at the HMRC Let Property Campaign in detail. Perhaps you've received a letter from HMRC regarding letting income that you need to disclose. Or maybe you've simply heard about the LPC and are thinking about making a disclosure. In this video, we'll be going through the process from start to finish. Let's get started. So who's the Let Property Campaign designed for? The LPC is designed to help landlords to disclose previously undeclared or underdeclared UK letting income. It can be used to disclose both deliberate and non-deliberate tax irregularities. Let's take a look at the process in more detail and how we can use the LPC to make a disclosure and bring our tax affairs up to date. Firstly, if you need to make a disclosure but don't know where to start, we can help. Not only are we able to undertake all aspects of the LPC on your behalf, but we also offer a free initial consultation. Feel free to call or email us to find out more. We've helped numerous clients to navigate the LPC disclosure process and would be happy to help. So, step number 1. We need to tell HMRC that we intend to make a disclosure under the LPC. This is done by submitting an online notification. If you've received a letter prompting you to make a disclosure, then this should be done within 30 days of receiving the letter itself. If you fail to respond to HMRC's letter, it will likely commence a tax investigation and you may be charged higher penalties as a result. Step number 2. Upon receipt of the initial notification, HMRC will provide a further 90 days in which you need to make the substantive disclosure and pay any outstanding liabilities. This will involve calculating taxable profit, penalties and interest for each year to which the disclosure relates. This can be tricky, so be sure to seek professional help if you need it. Step number 3. Following the submission of your disclosure to HMRC, it may request clarification surrounding certain figures or highlight issues that have been found within the information submitted. If this is the case, HMRC will outline the issues or queries that have been highlighted in writing. It's important that any queries are dealt with as soon as possible, as failure to do so will prevent closure of the case. Now, let's look at penalties. As well as the tax liability itself, you'll also need to consider an appropriate penalty level. Penalties are charged as a percentage of the tax outstanding and should be in keeping with HMRC's penalty schedules. These can be found on the HMRC website, or you can call TM Sterling to find out more. Don't forget, it's upon the person making the disclosure to identify and suggest an appropriate penalty, and not upon HMRC. Penalties can vary greatly, from 0 to 100% of the tax outstanding. The penalty percentage applicable to you will generally depend on several factors, such as the amount of time that has passed since the tax originally became payable, whether or not HMRC has prompted you to make a disclosure, and the behavior that led to the tax not being paid originally. For example, whether it was careless or deliberate. In the next section, we'll look at the number of years that you'll need to disclose as part of your disclosure. So how many years do you need to cover within your disclosure? Well, this depends on whether you previously submitted inaccurate returns, or whether you simply failed to tell HMRC of your tax liability. As a general rule, your disclosure should cover a period of 20 years, or the number of years from the date of first letting, whichever is shorter. However, in certain circumstances, where you have a reasonable excuse or you have submitted inaccurate returns, the number of years for which you are required to pay tax may be limited to 4 or 6 years, respectively. Again, this is an area that can cause significant confusion, so be sure to get professional help if you're at all unsure. In summary then, the LPC can be a good option for landlords who need to bring their tax affairs up to date. Here are some key takeaways. Firstly, don't panic. There's help available when undertaking an LPC, from both HMRC and specialist firms such as ourselves. We can undertake almost all of the disclosure process on your behalf. This means that you will have no direct contact with HMRC. Secondly, start to compile the records required for the disclosure as soon as possible. This will help to ensure that there aren't any delays in its submission. If you experience issues in obtaining records, it's worth noting that financial institutions such as banks are required to provide records for a minimum of the last 6 years, and will often provide records going back even further. Finally, don't bury your head in the sand. The sooner the disclosure process is completed, the sooner you can start afresh and move forwards. If you have any questions, then please don't hesitate to call or email us using the details on screen. We'd be happy to help. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video on the HMRC Let Property Campaign. We hope to see you again soon in another video.